Everyone. It's indeed a privilege to partner with an OEM like Dell. It's a bigger privilege to talk about our high points in our relationship to all of you. But the bigger challenge is to do that within 20 minutes. So I'll try to do that within 20 minutes. I'm sure most of you know what VMware is worldwide. I hope you know, right? And in case you don't, then I've got a job cut out for myself of reaching out to you and see that whether we can work with you along with partners like Dell. But worldwide, we've been doing well for ourselves. So do most of our customers say. Our loyalty index has been more than 70%, right? And worldwide, the Wall Street also appreciates that. So I assume, right, from the credentials perspective, that we've been doing well so far. Last year closed for us at $3.77 billion in revenue and a market capitalization of about $42 billion, which makes us a smart company to work with, right? We've got a fair amount of customers, right, across the world. If Fortune 100, Fortune 1000 makes sense, then we're more than 99% with them. Fortune 100 is 100%. But having said that, right, the reason why VMware is becoming more and more important today is that we are already at a stage, right? Last year was a turning point when the number of virtual machines created were more than the physical servers shipped. And we are very soon reaching a point where even the desktops, the virtual desktops, right, would be more, right, than the physical PCs being shipped so far, right? Most of our customers like us, right, for providing the reliability that we are known for across, and consequently about 84% of them continue to run their production environments on VMware. Talking about India, any vertical that you would want to think of, we've got some fairly good references that we can talk about, possibly, which would be close to the environment that you run in, and we would want to come and share the success story so that we can see if there's a mutually beneficial relationship within us, right, along with Dell, of course. So now coming to the topic, having done the introduction, right, about myself and my organization, one of the technologies, right, which is having a very fiercely rapid adoption, or at least it's evoking a level of interest in every organization, is cloud computing. With the promise of flexibility and the agility that it is going to provide to the businesses, the collaboration to adopt this technology along with IT is all the more. I've not seen any organization that we go across and we talk about the collaboration not being there. This is an ask which is coming from the businesses. It is also getting driven from two sides. One is from the business, the other is from the consumer. With the kind of technology and the user experience people today have in their hands with the smart devices is really driving towards a way of computing which can be delivered as service, which can be consumed whenever, whatever, wherever you are, and whatever time it is, right? That is kind of driving a complete storm, of how computing is to be looked at. Consequently, the IT department continuously gets challenged, right? Because three parameters what they can't compromise on, right, are control, security, and compliance. And I'm sure everybody agrees on that. Couple this with these new demands coming across and the kind of cuts which continue to come on the budgets all the while, we've been uniquely positioned, right, on driving this architectural change across organization as an evolutionary path for every VMware customer. And you can talk to every VMware customer, he will actually share with you that it is nothing new for us. We can do this very easily. It's just an evolution from what we're already doing. So VMware focuses, right, as an organization on three critical areas. One is infrastructure, right, which is the bedrock of this technology on which everything is going to get, this architecture is going to get developed upon, right? So we work on that. We're known very well for that, virtualization, which actually uniquely positions us because this is one of the technologies which is the underpinning technology for this cloud computing discussion that continues to happen. The second thing is that not many people know that we have a very strong stack, right, when it comes to the application space. We don't develop applications ourselves. We enable ISVs, but we do help our customers modernize their existing or legacy applications to make them more agile to serve the way it is being looked at today, right, the cloud computing environment. We help them run their applications much better, provide the level of scalability that they would want to look at, and multiple other things. So this is a complete area that we would possibly want to talk to you about whenever we get time to. And largely and lastly, but most importantly, is to provide the flexibility to work from wherever you want, whichever device you want, right? And give you that abstraction of being connected with your workspace irrespective where you are, whatever time it is, right? And that is the end user space. We're fairly strong there. Now today is not the day that we're going to talk about, but these are the key focus areas that we continue to work on. Some statistics which possibly will give you confidence of running any business critical application on our environment, and these are the percentages over the years that we've seen customers, right, adopt within. And as you see, with years it is only increasing, right? The production environments continue to do that. What we announced last year, when I said that it's an evolutionary path, right, for every VMware customer, most of the customers are aware of this bedrock of this cloud infrastructure management suite that we announced last year, a most cohesive cloud infrastructure suite, right, that we provided to our customers, which is closely linked with each other, which really does not talk about disruption anywhere you would want to look at. So at the base of this continues to be the virtualization platform that we provide, which also gets popularly known as the data center OS, right? This virtualization platform has been there for more than a decade now, right? And it's been proven over and over again. It's got fair level of availability built in. It helps you pool your heterogeneous x86 environment, right? Which includes your compute of CPU, your networking, your storage into one seamless fabric, and provide you a complete pool of compute, right? Which is what vSphere 5 does. There's a fair amount of availability that is built into this platform itself so that it itself doesn't go down. And with guarantee, I can tell you today that this is one platform which is going to give you a higher availability than physical environment any day. And most of our customers vouch for it. Coupled with this, right, over and above this, is what we are able to build as a low cost but a very reliable business continuity solution, right, through Site Recovery Manager, which is also fairly well adopted within our customer base today, right? The overall operations of this fluid infrastructure or the cloud infrastructure, whether you're running it in a private or a public environment, is delivered by something called a vCenter Operations Manager, right? It really helps you have a complete snapshot, dashboard, a 30,000 view if you would wish, or give you as granular view of your infrastructure from an optimization perspective, isolation of problem areas perspective, troubleshooting perspective, configuration and change management perspective, right, and feedback perspective. I mean, this is one tool which can do all that for you. How long will I survive with this infrastructure? How many virtual machines can I create? What is the capacity? So that you can take a lot of proactive decisions. How efficiently it is getting utilized is what all this operations manager does for us. Now, everybody is very clear that when we talk about virtualization, there are no physical boundaries. There are no physical boundaries. So security and control, which I mentioned earlier, right, is normally very closely linked to the physical boundary isolation that you create within your data centers. You create DMZ zones, you firewall them, and you do multiple other changes. I've introduced a lot of air gaps to ensure levels of security that you are delivering from your infrastructure, and compliance, of course, right? Now, when you virtualize this whole thing, there are no physical boundaries. So you need to have a security, right, which has to be policy based, which is more logical, follows applications logically, which is more dynamic, because now your application might not be running on a defined server. It is completely moving. It's on a fluid infrastructure. Which server is powering it when will continue to change depending on what is the load on that infrastructure that you're running. That's where there is a very unique requirement to look at security from a very different angle, and which is what vShield set of products does for us. And mind you, we are not experts in security. vShield sets set of products provides you basic level of security, but what we've also done is we've opened our APIs to every security vendor that you would possibly be working with for them to write their security softwares and algorithms which suits this environment. And today, I can proudly say that most of them already have specialized solutions, right, for security solutions for this dynamic environment. And on the meta layer, meta organizational layer, you've got vCloud Director, which is nothing but a tool which provides you the functionality of provisioning policy-based across data centers, right? It gives you a fair level of automation which you can turn it into a self-service, helps you catalog your services. It helps you look at chargeback, because the demand from business today, from IT, is to run this as a business, run IT as a business and deliver IT as a service, right? So all that can be done using vCloud Director. It integrates pretty well. So it's got a suite of products under it which helps you do that. So the bedrock, which I was talking about, the basic hypervisor. Now this might be just a revision, right, for the ones who are already using, but for the others, the hypervisor, the way we designed this is, if you see, it comes between the operating application environment and the physical infrastructure. So it's got two faces to it, and the way the development happens on this hypervisor continues to be likewise. The lower portion which you're seeing in this is facing the infrastructure. So we continue to function. When I told you that it pools the entire resources into a seamless fabric, there is fair amount of work which continues to go across, right, any close that comes across, because this seamless fabric or pool of compute that we're talking about is supposed to handle the entire workload. It has to handle peaks and troughs as they come across. All this, right, is very nicely managed by vCenter suite of products. Now, coming to the storage, this is a storage event, so I thought we just focus on the vStorage part, right, which is this portion of this. So I thought I'll just share a few enhancements, right, that we've done, and the integration with Dell infrastructure available. What we can do today, which is not possible in a physical environment, when you look at logically, right, in a physical environment powering a virtual environment, is that I can have a fair level of quality control, quality of service defined when it comes to storage. Today in a virtualized environment with VMware, I can define what quality of service each virtual machine should get when it comes to I/O. I can define my priority VMs, I can define the IOPS that they're supposed to get, irrespective of the fact even the infrastructure continues to collapse. I can define that. Now this defines also a quality of service for you in a virtual infrastructure, which obviously was not there in the earlier version, which is like 1.5 to 2 years back. But today, for last 1 year, this is one of the features which is being very aggressively used by most of our customers. What you see here, for example, is that there are 3 applications, right? There's an online store, there's a messaging solution, and there is data mining. Data mining in an environment where all virtual machines have equal quality of service or equal share to the infrastructure, you could have a situation where something which is critical to business is suffering because all of the entire infrastructure is equally divided. But what I can continue to do is, right, on the right side is what you see, I can define shares. These are my important VMs. They should continue to get the I/O bandwidth all the while, even if the peak is high. I can dedicate that environment so that obviously somebody suffers, so that the non-critical applications are compromised to help business. Right? Increasingly, what I can also do is, now that was the connectivity between storage and your compute infrastructure. Okay? What I can also do is, today you will have tiered storages being offered by our friends from Dell. There are portions within the Dell storage, or there are portions within the storage which are very, very fast, right, in terms of reaction times. There could be slower portions, right, within the storage, or it could be across multiple storages. I can also ensure that my virtual machine, across these multiple tiers, depending on who needs what response times, continues to move across from a solid state device to a SAS to a SATA device and vice versa. There are few virtual machines which are not so important, but they don't need the bandwidth at that time as well. So the software is intelligent enough to move those virtual machines to the slower spindles, so that you continue to get the quality of service. When I talk quality of service, I want to talk end-to-end. I can do that within the box and outside the box when I talk about the I/O as well. So I can do something what is also called a storage vMotion, which means that you want to change your storage, I can do it with no downtime for your applications. Physically not possible, virtually very much possible. If you're interested, I'll get into deeper details, right? One-to-one, I'll be around, right? In interest of time, I'll just skip this, right? But what I'm trying to say here is movement from NFS to NAS to SAN to iSCSI in any combination or permutation, right? We can help you do that. Movement within the storage, a multi-tiered storage for the performance that you want, right? For the guarantee of performance can completely be automated without any intervention from your end, right? So that the performance levels never go down. Fair bit of animation there, right? So you will see that the virtual machines continue to move around and you can have the storage out. Now, there's a level, when we talk about compellent, when you talk about equalogic or any other storage, right, that you're looking at within an environment, there are some unique features which will continue to be provided by the storage vendors themselves, which are native to that storage. We really don't want to lose out on that as well. I mean, we don't want to have a situation where you're compromising on some unique features for which you bought a storage just because, right, you're using a virtualized environment for VMware. So we open our storage APIs to every vendor, and in this case we're talking particularly Dell. Why I am particularly talking Dell is, I'll state some facts in the end. We've got more than 40 storages, right, from models of Dell which are certified. Whether this is coincidental or intentional, every acquisition which Dell does, right, also happens to be a very close partner with VMware. Now, so what we do is, we have a storage awareness, right, APIs, which we provide our vendors. Now what that does is, what you can see is a management screen here, right, wherein you have a separate icon of storage providers. Now what it does is, it leverages the native functions, right, which are not part of my virtualization software per se, but integrate in my management console so that you don't have to switch between panels, right, to do those unique features, to utilize those unique features, or let's say those maintenance tasks or anything which is unique to that storage. Just to take advantage of that, you don't have to switch your panels. You can do that from the vCenter console itself or the management console of VMware itself. This is another one. Provisioning. I'm sure the ones who use virtualization, you would realize that provisioning takes a fair amount of time, right, when it comes to defining what kind of storage, what kind of performance. If you've got different types of storage, different tiers of storage, you can create profiles ready-made for yourself. And you can create those templates within your environment so that when tomorrow you're going to provision a virtual machine, all you have to define is that what is the service level this virtual machine needs. The software will automatically, policy-based, right, configure that storage to provide that level of profile to the virtual machine that you're looking at. Completely simplifies your task. Create profiles for different storages, just assign that profile you want, and that storage will get connected. So what you see here is tier 1 could be, let's say, a SAN, or a very fast and a reliable storage. Tier 2 would be iSCSI box, for example. And tier 3 could be a simple DAS, running SATA devices. And you can create these 3 profiles for yourself in the template that you're looking at. Next time you want to create a virtual machine which is going to run a business critical application, you can actually go ahead and just do it profile based. Today, the last year we were talking about having the flexibility of working from wherever, whenever, and have your corporate access completely, right? That is driving people to look at new forms of computing, new forms of end user computing. Now imagine a scenario, a very basic scenario of desktop virtualization where you're just going to run, let's say, 500 desktops. So there are 500 installations of operating system, 500 installations of the common applications which go across. It's a very huge amount of storage, right? We have a very different way of doing this, right? What we end up doing is what you're seeing here, right? We will maintain one, and we want to have a situation, right, where when we end up having a situation where all the people boot at the same time and the entire infrastructure is kind of goes down, right, which is popularly known as boot storm. How do I provision them at a very fast pace? That's another need, right, for those two there. So what we're doing is, for example, you see here, right, the OS and the desktop environment is completely provisioned out of the fastest drive that is there. We're just maintaining one copy. What we are also doing is we've abstracted the user data and the application data separately. You need a service manager, right, who will actually help collaborate all this, which is done by Horizon Manager within VMware, right? Collaborate all this whenever people access this information from anywhere. So what happens is, when the desktop is provisioned, the OS goes separately, the application and app and data, they're all collaborated together by this policy manager, which I was talking about, universal service manager, which will continue to do that whether you access this device, this information from a handheld or a desktop or a smart device, anywhere. That gives you the flexibility of accessing this from anywhere you want. And we optimize on the storage completely, because we're not maintaining so many copies of the OS, because OS really doesn't change, application really doesn't change. What changes, deltas, are the user data, which is being maintained separately every time. What we've also done is, right, for information, further to optimize your storage requirements and to handle peaks in the end user environment, and so that you don't have to have an underutilized infrastructure in a virtual environment, we've also advanced it further by bringing in something called content-based read cache. So all the frequently accessed pages of the application OS are actually maintained in a cache, which can be completely server based. So everybody, for example, the login screen, right, is common to everybody when people boot. There's no point having it in storage. Put it in the cache. So that is intelligently done by the software to take care of many things. Reduce the peaks, right? Handle the peaks, reduce the IOPS. There's some figures you will get to see, right? I'm sure most of you can't read the figures, but the dark blue ones actually tell you, right, what would have happened in case you don't have the CBRC or the content-based read cache, and how this goes down in terms of the peak IOPS. A fair amount of reduction. All this results into what? A better user experience. Because what is going to result, right, if you don't have a good experiences, that possibly this is not a technology that should be adopted, or my IT guys are not doing a good job about it. This is what it does. So multiple figures which can help you look at, right, this. We'll share this later on, right, but needless to say, it helps you optimize your storage to a large extent, handle the peaks proactively without actually pumping in more amount of disk or cache or spindles, right, on the cache level, and a better user experience. This I've already covered, right. View Composer does that for you. And the last one, for this I would request you, right, to come across to our booth and understand what we do when it comes to the low cost disaster recovery or business continuity, but extremely simplified, extremely powerful disaster recovery solution, right, for your virtualized or the cloud environment, right. And a few factors, right. You might think that these are good features, good to have. There's some validation of what each feature that I talked about being used in our set of customers today, right. If you see fairly, with the exception of the profile driven storage, almost everything is close to 40% and above. Right? Profiles driven storage is something very new now, right? Because people start using this once you actually start running out of bandwidth of creating virtual machines. Now the last one and the most important one. Why Dell? Why Dell and VMware? Our relationship has been, we've been there in the industry for 14 years, right? And our relationship is more than 10 plus years. Our collaboration is not just on field. It goes right back to the engineering. We've got more than 40 server models, probably 38 server models if I'm correct, till last year, early last year, and now I've lost count, right? And about 40 odd storage models, again, figure is last year, which is certified, which is largest for any OEM that we have certified for the different technologies that VMware gets to offer. So that's where in engineering we are connected. In Austin, in Bangalore, that's how we are connected. We continue to have joint forces, right, to deliver products which are optimized to run this environment and give you the best performance. That's not all. You'll be surprised to know that Dell themselves are one of the biggest consumers of VMware as a technology. So they're consuming what they sell to you. So they know firsthand the bugs, fixes, much before the technology comes across to you, because they're consuming it themselves. Coming to what should matter to you, so having come out with the product which is completely checked and with a lot of bugs and fixes in case they are there, all proactively being ready, right? Let's come to the field, which is where it should matter to you, right? Right from sales, close to 1,600, if I'm correct, yeah, something around that. Certified professionals from sales, more than 350 pre-sales professionals, and more than 650 post-sales certified VMware professionals are part of the team that Dell has. Coupled with their acquisition of various organizations, they have a huge services arm which can stitch this all together for you. So that's what I really wanted to share with you so far, right, in terms of our collaboration. While the product is good, if your experience is mainly defined by who brings it across to you and what services they deliver to you, I think I would have succeeded in sharing that with you. I'm available otherwise around for questions if you have any. Thank you so much.